Hello guys, Ultra Knight here, and today we're going to be reviewing Imperial Guard. In particular, their artillery. Um, I haven't played a lot of Guard. I have played them. I've played against them. Obviously, I play Space Marines, in particular the Ultramarine chapter, as you probably know. Uh, but yeah, I mean, ally with them quite a lot for their artillery in Apocalypse. Sometimes in 2,000 points. Excuse me. Just eating my screen. But yeah, Imperial Guard. An interesting codex. Yeah, an interesting codex, really. I mean, great units. If you want a tourney list, Imperial Guard, go and crack on and get a mech list. I mean, that's pretty much all you're going to gun with on the Imperial Guard. But yeah, like we're going to discuss artillery. So let's discuss artillery. Right, straight off the bat, you got the Balisk. A few ways you can pronounce that, but I go with Balisk. Because that's just how I pronounce it. Yeah, Balisk. Probably the most common form of artillery. That's the one I use in Apocalypse. Strength 9, AP 3, minimum range 36, which is its only downfall, but in Apocalypse you won't have that problem. In normal games of 40k, it's pretty useless. You're probably going to have to get first turn shots to do anything with it. It's Ordnance 1, Barrage, Large Blast. Pretty standard there, guys. Obviously can't move and shoot. Yeah, it's the one I use the most. Obviously I painted it the Cadian colours. It's a good vehicle in Apocalypse now, but I have to understand most people don't play Apocalypse, or and for that reason, I'll go through this from the point of view of someone who doesn't play Apocalypse, and a tournament point of view. If that's the case, you don't play Apocalypse, you're not going to be fielding the Balisk. At all, really. It's not very good. It looks great. If you want it on the battlefield just to try and scare your opponent, maybe because it just looks nice, by all means bring it. I mean, it's a fun unit to play, but there are better artillery out there for the Guard than the Balisk. But it is iconic, it's really iconic. So give it a miss unless you're absolutely going for an iconic looking good army. There are better artillery options out there too, especially with the Guard, being that their army is so vast. Second one we've got here is the Medusa. I proxied him. The reason I proxied him the first time was for that strength 10 AP 1, 48 inch range, heavy 1 blast. It does. Interesting unit. Probably the best form of artillery for 40k games, I'll be honest with you. It's got no minimum range, so you're packing out at 36. It's strength 10 AP2, large blast, ordnance 1, really powerful. It is probably the best artillery in the game, as far as I'm concerned. I've been on the receiving end of one of them before, and it pretty much single-handedly reeks my army. If I'm honest with you guys, not a nice gun, really dangerous. Unfortunately, I believe the only model you can get around on is a Forge World model. You can create it through the Ballast kit, I believe. Yeah, pretty much. Really decent. And you obviously the Bastion Breach shells, which are higher range, but a small template and higher AP. Better front tank, basically. It also rolls an extra D6 for penetration. So, tank, basically. But it's a direct shot. Problem with Medusa, obvious one, it's not Barrage, okay? It's simply, it's basically a much longer range Vindicator. Which isn't a problem, things will hide from it. That's its problem, really. The next thing, got the Colossus. An interesting vehicle. Yeah, it looks a lot better than it is, guys. I mean, it's strength 6, AP 3. I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool, but it can ignore art on cover saves, which is pretty good if it's firing direct. Has a minimum range, has a stupidly long range. I mean, it is actually a siege mortar, so it would never have that sort of range. A mortar doesn't have long range. It sort of lobs the shell up and drops it into something similar to a howitzer. So from this point of view, Games Workshop is sort of not stuck true to the law, but that's fine. That's not an issue. The only other thing, which is the one I do play in normal games of 40k, is the Griffin. Good old Griffin. Yeah, interesting. It's got the reason I play it is it's strength 6, AP 4. Whenever I'm not playing against Marines in a friendly game, I'll bring it. If I'm playing against Marines, I'll probably still bring it in a tourney list in 6th edition. Why? Because it's large blast. Yeah, it cannot fire indirectly, but do you know what? It's not a major issue. It's large blast. Sorry, it cannot fire directly, which is fine. It's large blast, ordnance, rah. I guess the rerolled scatter die basically, guys. Which is good. Yeah, it's got a minimum range, but it's quite short, but it's only 12 inches, and you're not going to be having to fire within 12 inches of yourself. That's pretty much what I can say about it. Really, it is probably the best form of artillery in normal games of 40k. Excuse me, I've got a cold. You move it up, you drop a few shells down, and you roll scatter die. Not a lot else to say about it. Really, it's really effective against anything other than Space Marines. Against Space Marines, still really effective. You're going to be hitting most of the time, but you know, give or take. Yeah, not a lot to say about it. Really, just keep it back, keep it hidden. Great tank, really good looking. Yeah, that's the one I use in normal games of 40k. I've got it painted up to Cadian colours, in case you're wondering. Really cool. Now, we move on to the other forms of artillery that the Guard possess. The Manticore. I personally don't like the Manticore. Don't get me wrong, that's from an aesthetic point of view. I prefer the normal Guard artillery. Why? It just does something for me. You know, that's the iconic artillery of the Guard, the huge guns and the big shelling power they've got. The Manticore, I'd rather bring a Whirlwind myself. I mean, yeah, it's more powerful than Whirlwind. I mean, it's strength 10 AP4, but there's a high minimum range. It's 24-inch minimum. You know, ordnance, barrage, D3, large blast. Yeah, it's cool, but you know, it's cool. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Really, is it's cool. It's a limited ammunition. I can only fire 4 times. One of those times you can move it, I guess. Yeah. Still, interesting unit. And finally, you've obviously got the Death Strike missile launcher. I've seen them played actually a few times. I don't know why you'd bring them. I mean, yeah, it's unlimited range, and yeah, it's strength 10 AP1. Get an orbital bombardment, guys. I mean, or a Vindicator, or even just a Ballast or something. You know, sorry, a Medusa. A Death Strike isn't that good. It's only one shot. You're paying 100 odd points for it, and it's a random firing sequence. Like, it can only fire on a certain round because you have to roll for that round. Like, you keep rolling against like a clock sort of thing. T minus 5 minutes to launch. It's called special rule. Yeah, I've seen them played though, which is quite odd. People just like to play them, I guess. Ballistic skill 3, you know, they're not that good. Difficult to kill. Can't really stop the missile from going off unless you keep weapon destroying it. But yeah, guys, I would stick with the Medusa and possibly the Griffin. Ballast in Apocalypse, without doubt. Yeah, guys, that's Imperial Guard Artillery in a nutshell, really. It's only 9 minutes long video, so I've done well to get that out of the way. If you want a tournament play style or anything like that, or an Apocalypse play style, how to use these artilleries really effectively and how I've used them, how I've seen them used in tournaments, how I've researched them, how I've reviewed them, then just give me a shout and I'll put a video up for you guys. Alright, thank you. Thanks for watching.